Good evening, hockey fans. Welcome on into the Neutral Zone here on Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sport. We are very nearly there. Just a handful more games left to go, and then the playoffs will be upon us. Not every chair is spoken for yet, though. There are some bizarre playoff scenarios still out there to be had between today and tomorrow. We'll get you caught up on everything going on around the league, the scores, and the scenarios. We've also just got some fun stuff in store for you here tonight. We've got a team that isn't on television on its own network. We've got a college championship to celebrate. We got all kinds of fun, different things, and we're going to try to get you set up and primed for the playoff run. Lots to go here on the show here today. You are tuned on into the Neutral Zone here on IE Sports Radio. So sit back, let's light the lamp, get it into zone, check it in deep, and of course we want to stay out of that penalty box. This is the Neutral Zone, everybody. Let's go. And once again, welcome on into the Neutral Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I am Adam Karnik. Zach Puplis is along with us as well. We got lots to be doing, lots to be getting to on the show here tonight. Zach, how you doing tonight, sir? Oh, we got you.
Oh, hi. Sorry.
There we go.
How's it going?
How you doing tonight, Zach?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing all right. Lots to get to on the show here tonight. We've got, of course, there are still games going on in the regular season, but the playoffs are almost here. So we'll try to get you set up on what weird things could happen between today and tomorrow, and then try to get you set up for the playoffs starting Saturday. The playoffs will begin in earnest, so we got lots to get to. Not a whole lot of time to do it. So let's hear a quick word from our sponsors, and then Zach, let's dive on in and get everybody caught up on everything we got going on. You are tuned in live here to the Neutral Zone on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We will be right back right after this. IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back on into the neutral zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Adam and Zach back with you here, kicking things off on this postseason eve show, if you will. Lots to be getting through. We always like to start things off with tonight's scores, and that is how we're going to start the show. But we know that there's lots going on with playoff relevancy as well. So thank you to each one of our sponsors, and thank you to each one of you guys watching the show live, whether it's across YouTube or Twitch or Twitter. Glad that you guys are here. Let us know you're here. Drop us a comment. We can have some fun and interact that way as well. You can follow along with this show. We are available on Twitter at IESR Neutral Zone. I am at Adam_Karnik. Zach is at the Puplis. Zach, go ahead and get us caught up. Who is doing what in the scores tonight, sir? Oh, are you there, Zach, or are you caught in a loop there? Well, I think we're having some technical difficulties there with Zach. Hold on there while we try to get that resolved and taken care of. So we'll get you caught up here with some of the scores across the league right now. Devils and Bruins, they're about 8.5 minutes left to go in regulation in that one, tied at 4. The Blue Jackets, who are desperate to stay alive here in the playoffs, needing a regulation win. Well, looks like they're going to get that. They are currently up on the Flyers 3-0 with a little over 6 minutes to go in the game in that one. As I think we've reconnected with Zach. Zach, are you there?
Hi, can you hear me?
There we go. We can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you a little bit there. Yeah, I was just trying to go through the scores a little bit, and I think we lost a connection or something happened there.
Are you there? I could hear you earlier.
Yep, now I can hear you. Now we're good. Now we got you.
Sorry about that. Yeah, Blackhawks and Senators all tied up at 3. With 6:47 left to go in the third. Okay, good. Blue Jackets, like you said, desperate for a way to clinch the playoff spot. They're up 3-0 on the Flyers with a little bit 5.5 minutes left to go in the game. Panthers and Lightning, Battle of Florida. Lightning lead that one 4-1. Islanders. Capitals lead that one 2-0. All right, so here we go. Off implication hockey. Blues and Utah Hockey Club. Blues are up 4-0 with 14:20 left to go. The second. And then followed by the Ducks and the Wild. Ducks and Wild are both tied at 1 with 8:09 left in the second. 7:40 left in the second. Golden Knights.
Oh, we are having
Wild
some
need a win, and both of them need the Flames to lose.
Zach, we're definitely having some
glitch.
We are definitely having some connection problems there, Zach. Hold on. Let's try to get you reestablished a little bit. We are definitely having some connection issues there. Let's see if we can get you reestablished a little bit here. But yeah, the Wild and Ducks are tied at 1 with 6:40 left to go in the second. Vegas and Calgary just got started with Vegas up 1-0. Lots going on there, and lots of playoff implications with those scores. Taking a look at the scenarios here tonight. Minnesota is desperate to at the very least get into overtime against the Ducks tonight. They clinch a playoff spot if that happens. If that doesn't happen, then they just need any one of a bunch of different scenarios and versions of things to happen here to get into the playoffs. They'd need St. Louis to lose. They would need Calgary to lose. If either of those happened, then Minnesota would get in. But obviously for Minnesota, the simple, easy path is just win and you're in, and that's the easy way. The Blues, meanwhile, they can get themselves. They are in control of their own destiny as well. A win in regulation, and the Blues are in, or they've got some kind of complicated scenarios going on if they don't win. Zach, I think we're reconnected there. I think you're at least your video is live at least.
Good. Sorry about that.
There we go. I think we're back to having normal feed there, I think.
Fingers crossed.
So yeah, I'm just looking through some of the scenarios for tonight. It feels like for a lot of teams at this point, it's the old Al Davis maxim: just win, baby, just win. Right. You don't want to get into some of these complicated. Well, you can get in with a loss plus things happening, you know.
Yeah, you don't want to backdoor your way into it.
Yeah, especially because the back door is just it's like it's small and you've got to weave around a bunch of corners or something to get the hallway to work right.
Got to James Bond your way in there with the laser maze and everything.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, just listen to this one for the Blues. If they defeat Utah in anything other than regulation, then they get in. If the Flames Golden Knights game has anything other than a Flames regulation win, or the Wild lose to the Ducks in regulation, or they get a point against Utah and the Flames lose to the Golden Knights, well then, okay, you get an, or if the Flames lose to the Golden Knights, then they're in if the Flames lose to the Golden Knights in regulation, then they get in. So, lots of just weird, complicated, convoluted things going on there where you'd rather just, just win, St. Louis, just win and you get in.
Yeah, it's better to be in charge of your own destiny for sure.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Meanwhile, Columbus, we were talking pregame before the show. Columbus is just hanging on for dear life at this point. Just like Columbus, you get the feeling in the third period, it's going to be like they're going to be playing without a goalie for half the third period in these last 2 days. It feels like, because it's like anything other than regulation wins and they're doomed.
Well, I mean, I think they're feeling it's a miracle they're still alive to begin with. I mean, weren't we just talking a week ago? Okay, all Montreal has to do to knock out the Red Wings is win once. And that's exactly what happened. They beat the Red Wings and haven't won since. They won 4-1 last Tuesday over the Red Wings, lost to Ottawa 5-2, lost to Toronto 1-0 in overtime, and lost to Chicago 4-3 in a shootout, which are your boys last night. They got one chance left tomorrow versus Carolina, 7 p.m.
That one last night too. Jen, our host of the show Over the Land over in Ohio, Columbus and Cleveland sports. She was, all right. I'm putting all my hopes on the Blackhawks here, and I was telling her, "Oh, Jen, I'm very sorry but you're going. Just prepare to be disappointed." And then it went to a shootout, and the whole time I was just like, "What is happening here? What is going on here? How is it?" Chicago has nothing to be playing for, nothing, no relevancy at all. Montreal has everything on its shoulders, and Montreal is just getting choked up and really, Montreal has been the hottest team in the NHL right up to this past week, and then get right up to the door, and all of a sudden, guys, we might actually do it here. Now what?
Right. I looked at that. I was like, how, I've been checking the standings every couple of days. I'm like, how in the world has Montreal still not clinched that last spot?
Right, exactly. It's what is going on here? How is this not a done deal? I mean, that was one of the things I was going to talk about tonight was, well, the Canada returns to the playoffs and I was going to say we've got 5 Canadian teams in the playoffs, but Montreal just flat out refuses to clinch. They just don't do it.
That's some Toronto behavior there. I mean, come on.
Anything you can do, I can do better. Right. I can do anything better than you.
Well, you know why they haven't clinched? Because they lost 3 of the last 4.
That'll do it. That'll really do it. Yeah. I mean, God, I'm looking at my God. We're going to have this discussion too, as we kind of set the stage for the playoffs. My gosh, the bottom of the Eastern Conference really is horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know that goal differential isn't an end all be all statistic, but for a quick glance at a glance, it works really well. Basically, if you're positive, that's good. If you're negative, that's bad. Montreal's a -22 in their goal differential.
Oof, woof.
That is, I mean, that's not the worst for a. We have seen playoff teams be worse. I think Washington last year, I'd have to look it up, but I think the Capitals last year had a worse goal differential and got in before just getting wasted in the first round by the Rangers. The Rangers who then, turned around and fell off the face of the earth this season.
Yeah, go figure.
But I mean, that's a terrible, absolutely terrible goal differential. To put it in perspective, Buffalo, which got eliminated weeks ago, is only a -17 goal differential.
Oh my gosh.
The Utah is a -5. They've been out of it for a long time. In the West, I mean, you've got only 4 teams that have worse than that. So, just that whole and just looking all the way down the Eastern Conference, they're all in the red. They're all bad. Not all of them are as bad as Montreal, and Columbus and the Rangers are a heck of a lot closer to even than that, but it's not good for Montreal. It's not good.
Well, and you said that they were one of the hottest teams up until a little bit ago. What was their goal differential at that point when they were still streaking?
During their streak, it obviously was doing really well because they were winning games like crazy, but that was making up for lost ground. I mean, they had points this season where they were, 30 goals under in that differential.
Oh, dang.
So, they've been, wow. They've gotten points in 8 out of their last 10 games, which means that they're scoring and they're relatively winning, and they're still -22. That's not good.
Yeah,
that's not good. It's not a good thing. So,
well, it's interesting too as you look at the standings. We talked the last couple of weeks about how the East has been just a log jam. Well, as teams have either clinched or been eliminated, it's been narrowed down to just the 2, just Montreal and Columbus, and one's got 89, one's got 85. And now the logjam has switched over to the West with Minnesota at 95, St. Louis at 94, and Calgary at 92.
Yeah, it's definitely crowded there in the wild card. Taking a look, we do have games tomorrow. So let's take a look at Montreal, because obviously the Canadians, they're in control of their own destiny.
Yeah.
They host the Hurricanes tomorrow night. Now the Hurricanes at this point, they are in. They are in. They are second in the Metro. They will be nothing but second in the Metro. Obviously, they're not catching the Capitals, and they're 10 points right now in front of the Devils. it'll be the second half of a back-to-back for both of those teams. The Devils and Bruins are going to overtime right now, and the Hurricanes, where'd they go? Where'd Carolina go? They must have a game. Do they have a game Thursday? Is that when they're final? Yes, they're final. Excuse me. So they've got the Senators on Thursday to finish out their season. So they'll be on the front end of a back-to-back tomorrow. I'm sorry. So they're already in Montreal awaiting to play tomorrow against the Canadiens.
Yeah.
Is there any reason that Montreal doesn't win this game tomorrow, other than just Montreal falls on its face? The Hurricanes have nothing to play for.
Yeah, they've already clinched. I mean, it feels like last week regular season NFL game. We're gonna sit everybody and get some rest for the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, their mind absolutely, unequivocally, 100% should be on New Jersey. How do we beat the Devils?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you can't worry about Montreal, because the soonest that you would be facing, let's face it, the soonest you would be facing Montreal would be in the second round. You know, let me make sure I have that right. Well, they possibly could. I guess no. Yeah, I can math. Never mind. Washington's got that top spot in the East, so the earliest they'd be facing in the second round. You can't be worried about a potential second round matchup.
No.
At that point, right? You've got to just rest.
Yeah. Well, like you said, unless the Canadians just absolutely fall on their face,
which has happened.
Strange things have happened. Look at Boston a couple years ago, they won the President's Trophy.
That's what's been going on. That's absolutely what's been going on here. But Columbus, it looks like, is absolutely gonna win here in regulation tonight, as they're sitting there, and I think they did. Yep, 3-0. So the Blue Jackets are only 2 points back now. So they win in regulation. And that's the other thing for Montreal. They've lost their last 2 in overtime. You'll take that at this point. If you're tomorrow night, if Montreal loses in overtime, mission accomplished. You got in,
just because you still got your points. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. You got a point. You now are further ahead than Columbus can hit.
Yeah, exactly.
So, this should be a done deal. This absolutely should be a done deal, but I don't know. I can't shake a feeling that somehow Montreal's gonna fall on its collective face here, and that's gonna be that.
Right.
And that's just gonna be that. So, well, let's take a look real quick at, we've got a bunch of playoff matchups that we already know are going to happen. And first of all, congratulations to the Winnipeg Jets for clinching the President's Trophy. First time in Winnipeg Jet history that they've done that.
Wow.
Yeah. First time in franchise history. So congratulations to the Jets, 114 points. They've got one more game yet to play. They're playing, I think it's tomorrow, or is it Thursday? Let me find them again. Tomorrow.
Anaheim in Winnipeg.
Oh boy. That's a playoff warm-up if I ever heard of one there. If I'm the Jets, I'm telling Connor, don't even bother showing up. Or if you do, we're just sending you straight to the owner's box. You can munch on some popcorn. Do not suit up for this.
We're putting it back.
You're not playing. We'll put it that way. But I'm in line for a bonus. Here's the check for the bonus. Look, you got it. Now go sit upstairs.
And don't hurt yourself.
Don't you dare take the stairs. We'll take the elevator, and we might even have a wheelchair waiting for you when it dings too. We haven't decided yet.
Possibly some bubble wrap.
Exactly. You are not allowed to hurt yourself in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Well, do you want to start? Should we start there in the West, or should we start in the East?
Good,
all right,
good
let's start in
segue.
the West. Yeah, so let's talk Central Division then. Let's start there. Obviously, the Winnipeg Jets, they're the President's Trophy winners. They're the number one seed. As it sits right now, we have no idea who they're going to play. it could be Minnesota. It could be St. Louis. It could be Calgary. We have no idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely no. Any one of those three teams are absolutely fair game for that first round matchup. Hooray for randomness at the end of the season.
Sounds like my taxes yesterday. I clicked on one of the things and it was like, oh, get help with this, get this definition or whatever. And then it was like, oh, was this helpful? I said, yeah. I click on the little thumbs up and then it changes the message to, we're here to help untangle your taxes.
Well, let's untangle this first round matchup for the Jets. Yeah. First of all, who do you think it'll wind up being? Let's start there.
Ooh, man. I think it'll be Minnesota.
Yeah. You think St. Louis? Oh, never mind. It might not even be St. Louis. It could be Calgary that jumps them.
Well, hang on. They would, as the number one seed, they'd play the second wild card, right?
Correct. They would get the second wild card. Correct.
Well, I'm gonna stick with status quo. I'm gonna say that they're gonna play St. Louis then, if they can hold serve.
All right.
No idea. But Calgary would be cool just because it would be an all-Canadian matchup. And we all know that Canada hasn't won the Cup since, 91, 92? Somewhere around
right.
there.
Yeah, we're over 30 years here at this point.
Yeah, so like you said, if they could get 5 teams in, that'd be incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the only one we know we're not getting from Canada is Vancouver.
Yeah.
We know we're getting Winnipeg. We know we're getting Edmonton. We know that Toronto and Ottawa are in. It's Montreal and Calgary that are holding up the bus here.
Gotcha. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
That would be if I'm Winnipeg and I get St. Louis in that first round. St. Louis is another one of these teams that has shot up the ladder here in the last couple of weeks. Jordan Binnington has been playing well. They've been getting good goaltending. We all know how that works in the playoffs, that you get, you get that good play, you get that good hockey goalie in the playoffs, and all of a sudden you can go places. Winnipeg struggles to get out of the first round. St. Louis would be coming in hot. I could see that being a problematic matchup for Winnipeg. As I'm gonna pull up here and take a look at how the Jets have done this season against St. Louis. We're doing all this on the fly tonight. They did just beat the Blues earlier this month, 3-1. So you've got some recency there. Winnipeg did take the regular season series 3 out of the 4. St. Louis this season only won one time. They were 1-2-1 against Winnipeg in the regular season. Okay. But St. Louis has been doing so well as of late. A couple of losses here last week, but beating the Avalanche 5-4, beating the Penguins, beating the Red Wings, beating the snot out of Utah right now. to just trying to cement themselves. Walloped the Canadians a couple weeks ago. We've been seeing some increased offense out of them. I'm not saying that you're going to put up 5 or 6 goals every night against Winnipeg. Connor Hellebuck is definitely a goalie that, can carry you as well. But I feel like that could be a surprise. That could be a surprise matchup for me in the first round. I could see that one being a possible upset there in that first round if it is St. Louis.
Yeah, true. But the way it sounds like with St. Louis's momentum so far this half of the season, it almost sounds like their Stanley Cup run from a couple of years ago, where they just came out of nowhere from January all the way to April and just
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So that could be a very interesting one. All right, then we've got Dallas and Colorado as the 2-3 matchup there in the Central.
Sure.
Dallas the 2, Colorado the 3.
Right. Let's see here. So, they would be together, right?
Yes, yeah, that'd be the 2-3 matchup. Dallas would have the home ice advantage. Colorado would be going to Dallas for the first 2 games. Now, Colorado is going to have Gabriel Landeskog back.
Yes.
And in fact, they even said that he could play in game 1 of the playoffs against Dallas.
Okay.
So, and obviously you still got Cale Makar, you've got McKinnon, you've got some of that. Who do you like in that matchup there in the Central?
Colorado, just for no other reason other than I don't really like Dallas in any sport, to be honest.
Oh man, the anti-Dallas brigade is out in full force. I like it. 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 I like it.
Well, and going back to Winnipeg real quick. I mean, look at they have to take their example from Edmonton from last year. I mean, Edmonton had been making the playoffs consistently for a while and never really gotten much further. And they finally made it to the Cup final last year. They did lose, but okay, Winnipeg, you won the President's Trophy. You got the best chance out of anybody at this point right now. Like, make the most of it.
Yeah, indeed. All right, let's go over to the Pacific Division. Vegas is right now on top. Have they officially clinched the division?
No, I don't. It looks like they're all 3 just playoff bound. That's it so far.
So let's just sake of argument, let's go ahead and give Vegas the Pacific. Are we okay with that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
all right.
We gotta have some kind of assumptions to base our opinions off of, right?
Indeed, and they're beating the Flames 3-1 at the end of one right now. Sure, we're gonna run with this. We're gonna say that Vegas wins the Pacific.
Okay.
And holds off the Kings. First of all, same problem with Winnipeg. Who do you think they get in the first round?
Right. Oh man. Dang. That's hard to say. Let's go. I'm going to say Minnesota gets knocked out.
Oh, okay.
And St. Louis and Calgary make it in. Calgary plays Winnipeg, so it's an all-Canadian matchup. And St. Louis plays Vegas in a matchup of recent Stanley Cup winners.
Okay, all right. So you're gonna bump St. Louis all the way up then. Okay, so tell me about your St. Louis Vegas first round matchup then.
Wow. It seems like a lot of the core from that Stanley Cup run that St. Louis had is gone. So, I mean, yeah, I would mostly rely on Jordan Binnington and other young talent. So I think Vegas would probably have the upper hand in that matchup.
I kind of agree. I kind of agree with that one. I think Vegas would be a little too much to overcome.
Too much firepower.
Yeah, I actually think that I'm gonna be boring. I'm gonna say Minnesota makes it in and holds on to that top wild card spot, but then I think Vegas absolutely flattens them. That's the one that to me, I think
Caps last year.
Yeah. I think Vegas, regardless of which of the three teams Vegas winds up catching in the first round, I think Vegas will line up nicely against each of them and be able to make it out of the first round.
Sure.
And then for what's got to be the third or fourth year in a row, we have the Kings and the Oilers meeting in the first round again.
This is the Gretzky special, right?
Yeah. Will the Kings ever beat Edmonton? Or is this just going to be this? They are what they are at this point, and they're just the warm up punching bag for the Oilers to get into the second round. It has gone 6-7.
Yeah.
The last couple. I shouldn't say, they haven't necessarily been a punching bag. They've made it a series, but they've never got. The Kings have never gotten past the Oilers. Would this finally be the year?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It'd be a punching bag if they were getting swept every time. But
yeah,
I don't foresee it happening. I think Edmonton again is just too much firepower and yeah, Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, everybody. Good luck.
Yeah. I'm not sure if Taryn is watching. And we've got Glenn from the Bold North Breakdown. Yeah, Minnesota's not beating Vegas. And meanwhile, Jen has made it in, and she is just willing it into existence that Montreal loses in regulation tomorrow night. Just trying to speak it into existence, into the ether, trying to get it out of there. You're welcome for last night, by the way, Jen. I have no idea how Frank Nazar. One of the greatest shootout goals ever. The puck literally just disappeared after he shot it. It wound up getting caught in the cup holder inside the net.
Oh my God.
Literally everybody was, where's the puck? Where's the puck? Where's the puck? So you're very welcome, Jen. I did everything I could. It is out of my hands. I am washing my hands clean of it. Columbus is on its own. I can do no more than what I have done. I could do no more.
Let's see the Kings. Okay, so Kings and Oilers. Oilers beat them 4-3 in overtime back in December. Oilers. Yeah, Kings beat Oilers 4-3 in overtime back in December. Then the Oilers beat the Kings 1-0 in January. And let's see. So they're 1-1 so far. Okay. So then Kings beat Oilers 3-0 on April 5th. So Kings technically, so 2-1 at that point. And then they just played yesterday, and Oilers lost that one too, 5-0. So I don't know. LA has the season so far 3-1.
Might I remind you that the Oilers have been playing without Connor McDavid and without Leon Draisaitl a lot lately?
Oh, well, yeah, never mind. Okay. Scratch that.
And that won't be the case here in about 5 days.
Right.
So, yes.
What's that Willy Wonka line? Scratch that. Reverse it.
Exactly. Yeah. We're going to cite mitigating circumstances on some of those. Not to take anything away from the Kings. Because again, I like the Kings. They just really need to do something about avoiding Edmonton in the first round.
Right.
They really have got to work on that.
Ouch.
They've really got to do something there to avoid that. All right. Well, let's take for ourselves a quick break. And then when we come back, let's discuss the Eastern Conference then, which was the crazier conference, but seems to have settled down here a bit. I think we have a handle of what we're going to be getting here. So let's talk Eastern Conference playoffs next. This is the Neutral Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We will be right back after this.
Hey, sports fans. Are you in the market for Florida sports or just keeping up with the latest in the Panhandle? Palm Tree Sports is a dedicated audio hub to all things sports in the Sunshine State. We cover current events, big news, heavily favored opinions all across the NFL, NBA, MLB, and so much more. So come check us out every Saturday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For a down south education on Florida sports and athletics, it's hosted by yours truly, Corey Pujols, and is powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey, Cleveland and Columbus sports fans. This is Jen B, host of the Show of the Land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. If you love Cleveland and Columbus sports like I do, be sure to tune in live to the Show of the Land on Tuesdays, where we will cover the Cleveland Browns, Cavs, Guardians, and Monsters. We will also talk about the Columbus Blue Jackets, Crew, Fury, and of course, the Ohio State Buckeyes. We'll also cover other colleges in the area like Akron, Kent State, Cleveland State, Mount Union, John Carroll, Baldwin Wallace, Youngstown State, among others. So like I said, if you love Cleveland and Columbus sports like I do, be sure to tune in Tuesdays to the Show of the Land with Jen B on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back into the Neutral Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Adam and Zach back with you here as we are getting everything set up and caught up and ready to go for the NHL playoffs set to start this weekend. So the West has become the wild, unpredictable. We have no idea what's going on for the wild cards there. The East, which had been that for the last couple weeks, has calmed down, settled down. We have an idea now of who is doing what and where everywhere there. So do you want to start in the Atlantic or do you want to start in the Metro, Zach?
Let's go Atlantic. All
right. So in the Atlantic, we've got Toronto has the inside track on the division, though Tampa Bay somehow that can't be right. Toronto has won the Atlantic. I'm trying to understand math of how on earth Tampa could catch them down 6 points with only 2 games left, and that the math is just not mathing. So Toronto is.
Yeah, this has a Y next to their name as opposed to the X. So yeah, but Toronto must have won the division.
Yeah, the NHL has not. The NHL has a typo there. So we've got Toronto has won the Atlantic and will be taking on the second wild card team. So either Montreal or Columbus, and Jen getting very excited too. Adam Fantilli got goal number 30 tonight on the season. Meanwhile, Jet Greaves got himself his second shutout.
Hey!
So Columbus trying so hard to speak it into the ether. First of all, so who do you see Toronto playing? Is Toronto going to take on its fellow countryman Montreal, or are we going to see Columbus sneak in and bust down that back door and and force its way into the playoffs here. Let's start there. Who does Toronto catch? Or I'm sorry, it doesn't. I'm sorry, I'm doing it all backwards. Never mind. We know that that's who Washington is going to get. Toronto's getting Ottawa. Toronto's getting Ottawa. I'll back up, and I keep messing that up. Toronto is getting their fellow countryman Ottawa, and Ottawa just lost to the Blackhawks tonight in overtime. Right. Boo-hoo! They're locked into the first wild card spot. It do not matter. So we do have an all Canada matchup here in the first round. Toronto versus Ottawa.
Well, nice commute. Not too bad, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be right there. It's gonna be easy come, easy go for everybody.
Yeah.
They only have to worry about the one anthem. They can get the game started faster. Life will be so good.
Right. I'll give Ottawa a game or two, but I think Toronto is going to be too much for them. But then again, Toronto has historically had trouble with the first round, so who knows?
They got over that hurdle last year, though. They cleared that hurdle.
Okay. As long as they broke that curse, they're going to win this series.
They did. They finally punched through the glass ceiling. I'm mixing my metaphors again. I hate when that happens.
The sticky maple ceiling.
Right. Oh, sure. There we go. Yeah. They punched through the maple syrup ceiling. So I agree. I think Toronto gets through. I think Toronto gets through the first round. Gets past Ottawa. It'll be entertaining. It'll be fun. Especially if Ottawa takes game one. Oh man, you know that Rogers Center is going to get really tense and aggravated really fast.
Yeah.
It won't take much for that Toronto crowd to go, come on, guys.
Right. Not again.
Not again. Here we go again.
Oh gosh.
The other matchup that we've got at this point, and I'm just making sure that there's no way that we're going to wind up with no. We've got Tampa, Florida is locked in as the 2-3 matchup. So we've got the battle for Canada in on the one half of the Atlantic bracket. On the other half, we have the battle for Florida. We have Tampa versus Florida, which we got this last year. Wasn't it in the first round last year also that we got the battle for Florida between Tampa and Florida?
I think so. Yeah.
It feels like that's where it was.
Yeah. I mean, they're both neck and neck. Let's give it to the defending champs on that one. I'm going to lean towards them.
And it's still possible too that Florida could wind up with the home ice advantage in that series too. If Florida wins and Tampa loses out, gets 1 point or less in its final two games, Florida would actually have home ice.
Okay.
In that matchup too. So for what that's worth, I agree. We'll give the defending champs the little bit of the nod there, the courtesy round, if you will, advance the Panthers into the second round there. I got no problems with that.
Yeah.
On to the Metro. So Washington. Now we have to have our fun wild card discussion. Who does Washington catch in the first round? Will it be Montreal or will Columbus break through the back door?
Let's go Columbus, and that'll be a nice quick commute for that one too.
Oh yeah, that could be kind of fun. So Columbus, Washington. How do you see that series going? Adam Fantilli in the playoffs and Columbus. How would you see that going?
Yeah. Ooh, I hate to say it. I think Columbus is going to play the role of the Caps last year.
I think I think in that instance, Columbus would just be so emotionally exhausted from just making it to the playoffs. And then meanwhile, the Capitals are going to be like, okay, we got Ovechkin that goal, and he got 896 last week, by the way. So
let's get him another cup.
Now it's going to be okay. Let's send the old man off in style. Let's go get him that cup. Yeah, I would agree. If it's Columbus, or heck, even if it's Montreal, if it's Montreal, I could see it being an interesting series because Montreal would be coming in with a head of steam, though we've apparently seen that they might not necessarily be able to handle the pressure. Washington is going to be gung-ho on, all right, boys, we have a mission. Let's go get it done. That they've been playing with all season. Yeah, if it's Columbus, good night, Gracie. That is at most a 5-game series to me. If it's Columbus, if it's Montreal, I could see it going 6 or even the full distance. I could also see it being 4 games and Washington just washes its hands of Montreal very quickly too.
Right.
So, all right, one more series then. In the 2-3 matchup in the Metro, we've got Carolina and New Jersey. How we get a preview of this yet this week, don't we? Or am I mixing all that up? No, I am mixing that up. Never mind.
No, it's Carolina and Montreal tomorrow.
Yeah, I am mixing that up. But We've got Carolina and New Jersey. Now, Carolina's the last couple of years made it fairly deep in the playoffs a few times. Yeah. Have they got one more in them, or yeah? Are they fading?
I think so. I think the window's still open, and they can possibly make a deep run, at least a round or two. Yeah. I think I want to say maybe New Jersey made it back last year, but it hasn't been multiple years anyways. But Carolina's they've been in the playoffs for a good 5-6+ years every year, it feels like.
Jen is offering to share her allegiance if the Hurricanes win tomorrow.
Nice.
Do the Blue Jackets a solid. Do the Blue Jackets a solid. Do the right thing there, Carolina. Let's have some chaos. Why not? That's
Take
part
out
of the
Habs.
That's part of the that's part of the fun of this time of year is not only are you rooting for yourself, you're rooting for somebody else to do you a favor.
That's literally on my notes here. Let's talk clinching strategies or clinching scenarios and rooting interests.
Definitely the rooting interest. My goodness, the rooting interests going on for the playoffs this year. Absolutely. All right. So we don't want to go round by round, but we've kind of set up the matchups a little bit here and given some thoughts on the first round. Who do you see right now? Who do you see getting into the Stanley Cup final, and who do you think would be hoisting the Stanley Cup, the Lord Stanley's Cup at the end of it here?
Ooh, I'm going to go the all W round. I'm going to say Washington, Winnipeg.
Okay. So both conferences effectively go chalk. We have the 1 seed in each conference winds up. I like that. I appreciate and respect that. I do feel like there's something there with Washington that this does kind of feel like a season of destiny a little bit, that sure. It's they got Ovechkin to 895, and what a magical send-off that is to not only get him that historic goal, and now you get to get him into the Stanley Cup Finals one more time. So I'll go with you there, though, for sake of flavor and sake of making it a little bit different. I'm actually going to go with Dallas making it to the Cup final, keeping our Southern theme that we've had the last few seasons going. The Stars have been really, really good the last few years. They always wind up being just short, whether it's against Edmonton or Colorado, bumping up against somebody there. I'm going to say that the Stars, this is the year that Rupins and company push through and make it to the Cup final. So I say we wind up with Dallas, Washington in the Cup final. Who do you see winning it?
You're going all
Who's
NFC East, huh?
Sure, yeah. Mike Pat will have himself a field day with that.
Right. Man, I would like Canada to be able to win it again, for the first time in forever. But I'm with you. I think it's kind of a season of destiny for Ovechkin and the Caps.
That does feel like the appropriate way for this season to end, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that's what we'll go with for now. We will so mark it down on this date, which means we're guaranteed to have anything other than that happen.
To be completely wrong.
Yes, exactly. Hey, speaking of being completely wrong, we have to give some kudos and some tip of the cap to Western Michigan winning the national title this past weekend.
Hey, I think we had the two teams. We just had it reversed. That's all.
Sure. Yeah. I'm thinking back to when we were first predicting when there were 16 teams alive and we were saying that Washington wasn't getting out of the first round. Western wasn't getting out of the first round. Yeah. That aged poorly.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hey, first national championship in any sport since 1965. They've been playing Division I hockey for 50 years now. And this is their first NCAA title. They reached the Frozen Four for the first time, and they won. And they won the whole thing. They won the whole enchilada.
Yeah, easily the greatest season that Western Michigan has ever had. Coming into this tournament, the Broncos had one tournament victory. You know, they just quadrupled that in one tournament.
Right.
You know, winning the 4 games en route to the championship, and a spectacular championship game too. It was very well played, very close for the first 40 minutes, and then the Broncos just busted it open at the end. Had tied at 1, had a 3-1 lead. It got to 3-2, and then the Broncos just busted it open in the third period. Job very well done. Congratulations to the Broncos. A job very well done. Always cool to see a first-time champion in any sport, and it's especially cool to see it be a school that doesn't otherwise get talked about.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, Michigan, Ohio State, you know, Penn State, they get talked about, you know, Western Michigan, other than, you know, row the boat there for a year or two.
Yeah.
You know, most people probably couldn't even point to where they are on a map.
Yeah.
So
yeah, go ahead.
So to see the Broncos win a national title, good for them, good for the program. And with, you know, there's a point to be made too, an argument to be made, the way they did it. Because they haven't had a lot of kids get drafted the last few years, they were one of the most experienced teams that we've seen in college hockey for a while. You know, they had a bunch of 20 and 21-year-olds. It wasn't, oh, well, this is going to be this kid's last game because he's about to go play for this NHL team, you know?
Right. Excluding the initial NCAA tourney in 1948, Western is just the 4th team to win the Natty in its Frozen Four debut. First time since Lake Superior State back in 1988. And the coach, he became coach just 4 years ago, Pat Ferschweiler. Western had just 6 NCAA tournament appearances since joining Division I in hockey in 1975-76, failing to win a single game. Under Ferschweiler, Broncos made the past 4 NCAA tournaments the last 4 years straight, advancing to the Frozen Four for the first time this year and capping their run with a natty. How much longer do you think he's going to be at Western?
Didn't I just see that North Dakota fired its head coach? So I give it, about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Not long. What I'm not saying that, it's a foregone conclusion. I'm just suggesting to his family that they not worry about finding a house to purchase in Kalamazoo.
Right. Yeah.
You're fine renting. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk about what a run. Again, up against Boston U, and Boston U has so many different banners they've hung, and they've been to the Frozen Four umpteen million times. Like, I just thought they'd be outgunned, but they did.
Oh, yeah.
That's incredible.
Oh yeah. And shoot, the Terriers had, I think it was 8 guys that are either are now in the NHL or are going to be in the NHL here in about 5 months, about 5 or 6 months are going to be in the NHL, so it was definitely, but at the same time, Western, they were the highest scoring team in college hockey all season. Western was the higher seeded team. Yes,
they were
Boston U had the
number one seed left. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So, it's easy to paint the narrative of this was David versus Goliath with David winning, but really Goliath beat David, really. This was a one seed winning a championship, just not a school we're accustomed to seeing as a 1 seed. And I think that's why it feels more Cinderella-y than the numbers would probably indicate.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of Boston U, your boy Ryan Green, he played in the Montreal game the other night, 12 minutes and 55 seconds of ice time in that win in the shootout. And then he played in the Ottawa game tonight. Last I checked, he had 9 minutes and 25 seconds of ice time too.
Yeah, get him some experience. The game, the national championship against Western ended, and less than 12 hours later, he had signed a 3-year deal with the Blackhawks and was on his way to meet up with the club. Made his NHL debut last night. Played tonight. They are now done for the season. It is weird to me that they wanted to get him out there for these last 2 games, because I think that counts as the first year of his 3-year deal.
Well, they went and burned his red shirt.
Yeah, exactly. It just kind of feel like that. I was sitting at the time, wait a minute. Why the rush to get the kid out that you've only got 2 games left?
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
Don't worry about it. But
I don't know. Are the same
for him?
Yeah, definitely good for him. I don't know. Are the same people in charge of the Blackhawks that are in charge of the Bears? I mean, they seem to make nonsensical decisions all the time.
Oh, don't get me started on that. Hey, they signed Ben Johnson, though. That made all the sense in the world.
It did, yes. And now we're going to go. Now Lions are going to tank.
And all shall realign and be correct with the world.
Boo.
Well, all right. Well, that feels as good a spot as any to stop, because I get the feeling that from this point on, all we're going to do is derail. So that will do it for our show this evening. Thank you to each and every one of our sponsors. Planet Jerky, premium brisket beef jerky. The jerky that's on a whole other planet. Go to planetjerky.net to place your order. They are offering free shipping on all orders of $50 and above. Thank you also to Vital Apparel, the brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use the promo code IESR to get 15% off of your order. Also, thank you to Seal the Deal Wax Seals. We've got lots of mail going out. Hopefully, you remember to do your taxes if you're in the United States and get them at least postmarked today. Otherwise, I hope you got an extension. But anything that you're mailing out or anything you're printing up, you want to give it that stamp so that everybody knows it was from you. It's personalized. Well, Seal the Deal Wax Seals can help you with that. Go to iesportsradio.com/Seal the Deal Wax Seals. Place your order, and you can have your very own personalized stamp. Thank you, of course, also to IE Sports Radio, providing the platform for this show where we're able to do this ridiculous thing we call a hockey show every week. You can follow along with the station on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube at IE Sports Radio, and be sure to check out the website, iesportsradio.com. And also thank you to Raw Nutrition Supplements. Go to getrawnutrition.com. Use the promo code IESR for 10% off of your order. Thank you to everybody that was hanging out with us in the chat room tonight as well. Jen B. from the Show of the Land and Glenn from the Bold North Breakdown. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you to each of the 245 people watching the show tonight live across Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Appreciate that. We will be right back here next Tuesday night, breaking down what will promise to be a wild and crazy first round. We'll see how the first few games have gone, see just how off base our predictions have been, and we'll see if we can't nail any more of this down. Zach, what do we always tell the people?
Don't get checked in the boards, stay out the penalty box, protect your 5-hole, and let's go like that lane.
Absolutely. We'll see everybody next week. Have a great one.